Well, of course, this week the Alberta government has tabled Bill 2, the Back to School Act, which legislates an end to the teachers' strike, invoking the notwithstanding clause in the process, and also imposing a contract on teachers, along with some hefty fines for anyone that might defy it, this back to work order. So, joining us for some reaction and next steps here, Jason Schilling, president of the Alberta Teachers Association. Jason, thanks for making some time for us here.
You bet. Thank you for having me on today. Appreciate it.
We kind of knew that this was coming, or something like this was coming. The government had telegraphed a willingness to use back to work legislation. But still, what surprised you about Bill 2 this week?
Well, there's a couple of things that I find extremely concerning, and I hope that most Albertans do as well. The first is the fact that they had pushed this through the legislature in one evening. So they had suspended the rules that we normally would have in our democracy of how a bill would go through the House. Time for debate, time for the public to see it, time for feedback to be given. But they surpassed all of that and just pushed it through in one evening. Now, the bill itself uses the notwithstanding clause, which strips away teachers' charter rights around a variety of things. That is a gross overstep by government in a situation where they could have simply returned to the bargaining table and tried to find a solution that way.
On the contract side, and maybe there was some expectation, maybe there would be some kind of arbitration, binding arbitration even potentially. But to impose a contract, and not only that, impose the contract terms that the teachers had overwhelmingly rejected, what kind of message does that send?
Well, I think it's a message that they didn't actually want to listen to what teachers had to say about the issues that we had brought to the table. They found a solution that they were comfortable with, and they wanted to move that forward and not to negotiate things like a student-teacher ratio or to look at maybe an increase of the salary portion to reflect the fact that teachers had taken stagnant wages over the last decade and were looking to make up on some lost inflation. So to me, they use this legislation as sort of an easy way out of trying to get out of a difficult negotiation situation.
So where do things stand here on Wednesday? I guess, first of all, I mean, are schools now reopened? Are teachers back in the classroom? What's happening across the province now?
Yeah, school's open today. Teachers are back at work today. But I'll tell you right now, they are not happy. They feel disrespected. They feel demoralized that the government would take this draconian step on putting this legislation in place with the notwithstanding clause. But I also know that a lot of them are resolved to keep fighting. You can't silence teachers. They will use their voice. We saw it over the last 3 weeks at rallies and walks and demonstrations all over the place. We know the things that we need to see in our classrooms to make them better for not only themselves, but for students. And we won't be silenced by this.
What do you feel the strike accomplished? Because now that the Alberta government has cut it short, they've imposed these terms, do you still feel like it was worth it? Did it accomplish anything?
Well, it accomplished a couple of things. So, for instance, government has now recognized that they need to collect class size data. They stopped doing it in 2019. One of the things coming out of the strike is that they're going to start collecting class size data again this November. And so we will make sure that they do that and the other promises that they made in terms of a task force. There's also an aggression task or study group, or I can't remember the name of it, action team, I think they called it, who has they have some recommendations that should be out here shortly. So we're going to make sure that they follow through on those recommendations and that they fund them. We also know that teachers turned the conversation around public education. They flipped a switch essentially in this province that everybody knows about public education and the things that teachers are going through in their schools. And you can't turn that switch off. They've awakened quite a few people to the issues. And from what I'm seeing on social media, they don't plan on stopping using their voices either.
What recourse does the ATA have? I mean, the various aspects of Bill 2 are meant to kind of, I think, cut off those options. The contract is imposed, so there's no need for negotiations as the government would see it. The notwithstanding clause, I guess, is meant to cut off any route through the courts. So where does that leave your association?
We will still launch legal challenges towards this bill and towards the use of the notwithstanding clause. We're not shy about doing that. So we will pursue legal means. Having just had the bill for a day or two now, we still have a little bit of work to do on that and just what that exactly will look like. But we also still will maintain the work that we do as an association in terms of advocacy, in terms of making sure that we're not the least funded school jurisdiction in all of Canada. And one of the next big targets that we need to look at is when budget 2026 comes down in February. Are we still going to be the least funded, or has government actually listened to teachers, parents, and students across this province saying enough is enough. You need to do better.
Well, given that there are some wage increases and changes to the grid included in this contract that's being imposed, are teachers? I mean, are teachers better off now than they were a couple of months ago, or what do we make of some of those aspects?
Well, we know with the salary increase that was imposed on teachers, this is what the government's sort of mandate was in terms of financials. You've seen other unions accept the 12/4 with a grid adjustment as well. So teachers were looking for something that was a little bit better because we'd only seen a 5.75% increase in the last 10 years, but inflation's been close to 30. And they were looking for more. This is a starting point. Next time we negotiate with a unified grid, you're able to make better gains with that. So we'll have to just see where things go after this.
In terms of any other possible labor action, and I know the strike is disruptive, and there's going to be some catching up to do here, which is going to mean heavy workload on teachers. But is a work to rule campaign or something along those lines a possibility? Is that on the table?
Well, work to rule is technically a legal strike action. If we were to do work to rule, it would be a legal job action, and then we would be subjected to the fines, as you had noted, are quite hefty within the bill. I mean, this bill is structured to really keep teachers down in that regard. And so moving forward, teachers will make decisions, though, about how they use their voluntary time. They might not run a book club at lunch. They might not coach cross country or something like that. They've got their own decisions to make about their own time that they volunteer at schools beyond what their professional responsibilities are.
In longer term, that relationship between the Alberta government and Alberta teachers, especially when we need to retain teachers, we need to attract, recruit teachers. What does this approach from the government do to that relationship?
Well, the relationship obviously is broken at this point, and we'll have to do some work to try to fix that. But it's a good point in terms of if I was living in another province, would I want to move to Alberta and become a teacher? And that's something that the government has created this mess with in terms of using the notwithstanding clause in Bill 2. They keep saying Alberta's calling, come live here. It's the great Alberta advantage. Unless you're a teacher, you don't get that advantage. You don't get to have all of your charter rights, and we'll impose a settlement on you. People will want to become teachers because they love the job and it's a calling. And we will continue to work in association to improve the state of our schools so that teachers want to stay there.
So with the public pressure and the public attention that is on this issue, with the Alberta government now vowing to collect class size data, the expectation that Albertans have that these issues get addressed, are you still hopeful that despite kind of the frustration of the darkness, the dark cloud of Bill 2 this week, that there can be some improvements when it comes to education in Alberta?
We will definitely be holding the government to its words and their feet to the fire through the next couple of weeks to see if they actually fulfill the promises that they made. And I would encourage the public to do so as well, parents to do so. This government has said, we'll do the following things to address the issues that teachers see in schools. Well, let's hold them to account. And if they're not, then we need to hold them to account at the ballot box in 2027.
We'll see where this all goes from here. Much more at teachers.ab.ca. Jason, appreciate the update, and thanks for spending a bit of time with us here.
Yep, you bet. Thanks very much.
Hey, folks, thanks for watching and listening. You can find us at robbreakenridge.ca. Also, make sure you hit that subscribe button below and stay connected with The Rob Breakenridge Show.